And that misguiding of these people by giving them information that's, again, too altruistic. There is such a thing as being that. As when people say, you can't be too optimistic. Well, sure you can. Like the people that was walking in the street trying to play that stupid, what's that game? The people playing with their phones, the Pokemon BS, and got hit by the car. Said, I'm gonna win. You're optimistic you're gonna win. And then you wake up in the hospital, you wonder what the heck happened to me. Because, just madness. And people say, well, that's not a good example. Look, nobody's saying that it can't be flowers and rainbows and good stuff. It can definitely be that, and you do want to focus on that. But you have to start at a point. Mm-hmm. Now, if you vibrate enough energy and you do enough of that work where you can just do a few moments of visualization and it instantly manifests in your life, you are awesome and go for it.
That's
Love
right.
you.
Teach us too.
Love you. But the majority of us ain't there.
Right.
It was a so-called saying that you have to hold something in the thought, in the focus, for 17 seconds or more. Mm-hmm. But, well, it really needs to be more. The more, Napoleon Hill talked about this, the more you apply that energy there, there's a hypnotic rhythm that's going to pick up and build up and build up and build up. Right. If you apply nothing, guess what? It is going to self-destruct. Mm-hmm. And that's the part that is not talked about enough. So when you have people talking about sex from a very low base desire, what was that thing I read Dr. Jules spoke the other day to you? About the man coming into his space, being able to surrender.
Oh, yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah. Look, bottom line is, yes, people are afraid. They're afraid because when they turn on the news, they see somebody else murdered and he was sleeping with this other woman, and so the wife killed him. Or she was dating another man and her ex-boyfriend found out and killed her.
Yeah, they show all the horrific stuff.
Just sheer madness. Yeah. And yes, it happens a lot. And it happens a lot because that stuff is promoted, and that's what people feel. I mean, sometimes you look at some of the stuff and you just say, oh my gosh, how horrible. But from a very objective space, because I don't wish ill on anybody, it's like, how stupid can you be? Mm-hmm. Yes, you're not going to have a conversation like that with somebody that's completely possessive. And there's a book by Dr. Paul Hook called Overcoming Jealousy and Possession. It's a very short and easy read, but it is a magnificent book. If you are dealing with anyone that shows any signs of being a jealous or possessive person, for both you who are jealous and possessive, and the people, if you may have a partner who is like that, okay, get the book and read it. It's an excellent book. It will really put things into the right perspective and have you really seeing where this behavior is unacceptable. The jealous person would like to sit there and think, like, you're a beautiful woman to me. I love every inch curve of you, how you smile, every single little thing. Oh yes, baby, it's great. Love it. But the jealous person will say, or possessive person even will say, that when you walk out this door, every single man is going to feel that way. Mm-hmm. Like every man is just going to line up and just like, I gotta have her. And common sense will tell you it's just not going to happen. Okay? Yeah, you got some people that are, what's the phrase? Okay, thirsty, are really hungry, are really whatever label they want to come up with. But everybody doesn't want to get with your man. Exactly. And everybody doesn't want to sleep with your girl. Excuse me, your woman. I was using that colloquial phrase. You know how they say that? You got my man, you been with my girl. See how the ladies, y'all need to wake up to that and check them when they say that. I ain't your girl. You can't call me a woman. Don't call me no girl. You know, I'm a grown woman. And not you youngins out there either that's gonna, you know, if you under a certain age, you know who I'm talking to.
Right.
But, you know, people, you have to use, what did you say the other day? Tact. You have to be smart about it.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing is this, and I read this a long time ago from actually an investigator, and he said the reason a lot of this extramarital stuff causes so much problems is because people don't realize if you have to hide it, that's already setting you up for failure.
Of course, 100%.
That's already setting you up for failure. So this person that's living with you
Is now lying to you because he feels he don't, or she feels they don't have no other choice.
well, right, but even if this person that's living with you is actively having to live out this lie, and some people are good, they can do it if they got the right partner that's busy at work or, you know, may live in another city or, you know, do what have you. Oh, it's perfect because they don't have to directly be confronted with it.
Right.
But it's going to happen. It's going to come out because something is going to shift, and that's an energetic thing. So rather than deal with it up front, people like to wait. I'll deal with it when it happens.
Sure.
And usually that means some type of bad altercation,
Some big blow up.
some embarrassment,
Mm-hmm.
usually a loss of money. Could mean a loss of straight income if you something happened you can't get to work now, or you know, well, she burnt up my car and I work 25 miles away. I nobody that's gonna pick me up. How many days can you call in? You got money to rent a car to get to work? I mean, that's the type of things that go on. Just madness. People who are seeking some type of sexual engagement, unfortunately, because we're so demonized about sex, like I said, if you are a person, you're not with anybody, you're just single.
Mm-hmm.
You say, well, you got to get somebody. Well, you're not going to get somebody usually worthwhile in an instance. Yeah, those things do happen, and you can meet someone and the sparks can fly, but usually in those cases, after a few good times, you don't want to be around too much more because then the other side start coming out. Whether it usually is both of y'all got some stuff going on. And, you know, that's just a bad thing. It can be fun if it's that, and you keep it that, and it's, you know, all right. Don't call me. Don't text me. Don't call me. Don't. I just want no. Okay. And that's keeping it very practical.
Right.
Because we know energetically that's a reality. Now there's people in those alternative subcultures that, you know, they swing, there might be into some other things in that culture. And people, again, they've been demonized to say it's bad and it's freaky behavior. You can catch a disease, you can do this, you can do that. Again, you're more apt to catch a disease when you're sneaking around because of the negative energy you're carrying with that.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying, especially those of you that are cruising and you know who I'm talking to. Okay? There's the practical side of it is how I see this. I don't believe with a lot of what's being said out there is going to work for the black community. Number one, we don't have the kind of structural support to deal with that. And I'm just keeping it honest. We don't have the structural support and wherewithal. Okay? You would definitely have to get the majority of the ministers to go along with it, and you know that's not going to happen.
Oh my Lord, is that not going to happen?
Okay?
That's
You
never
would
gonna
definitely have to get the men and women together from all backgrounds and from all economic levels to have discussions, because the sex that is going on that people are getting caught up and having issues with is happening across all levels. See, people love to, like, yeah, I said it, that water seeks its own level. And that's when you're looking for a partner. We say partner, but everybody else says, I'm looking for a husband, I'm looking for a wife, I'm looking for a mate. Okay, but we say partner.
Yes.
That's what we mean when we say you're looking for a partner. Not you looking for a sexual partner, this or that. But when people are out, they're looking for the sex. And as long as you can carry yourself to their liking, it doesn't matter your background and whatever else is happening. If you live in certain, in fact, if you live in any of the top 10 black cities in America, there's a sex party 6 days a week. I know people want to opt to say 7, but you know, there are some fiends out there, but that's more like, you know, a private. You know, that would be a one-on-one, and you would meet up. But you know, there are literally get-togethers, and they getting together, and people will say, "Well, that's just regular swinging." I'm like, no, this is a bit more hardcore than that, because you know what you have in the swinging community is everything from the people that are kind of hardcore
Right.
to the people that, well, we thought we wanted to do this, but we want to check it out, and so like, what the heck are you talking about? Just and see, that's the thing. There is no regulated way for people to go about this whole sharing and poly and this and that, because from the mainstream side of these alternatives, only a few of those principles will work when it comes to black people, simply because we don't have the same kind of structure, the same kind of outlook, the same kind of motives, even when it comes to that. A lot of us, you know, we're still messing around with the survival thing. Just, look, I got to get to next month. I got to get to next year.
I gotta get to next week.
Okay? So, how are you going to really talk about setting up, even though that would probably be a quick way to solidify some security in each other's lives in an easy way, but how are you going to talk about that when your mindset is only on survival? Because what you're talking about is building trust with people and being accountable. And there's a whole lot in our community that we just have not stood up and be accountable for. So you can't realistically talk to another person about doing something where you have to have the maximum accountability when a majority don't want to show the minimum. Let's just keep that where it's at. You don't want to show the minimum amount of responsibility. And no, it's not for the bougie black people, and it's not for black people of means, because all of them ain't bougie. It just means that there are different conversations that have to take place. I personally believe it would work better through a developing type of cycle. Like I used to do a class, this is in the East Coast, I would do a class for women about their dating. And this is long before the whole Cookie Man book came out and all that.
What is the Cookie Man?
You know who I'm talking about. Yeah, so anyway, I would tell them to pace themselves because you had a lot of sisters complaining about the fact, man, this is like 20 years ago, almost, about the frequency of getting together and the rush for the sex. And so we say we would practice and talk about tempering, where it said, let's just take it for 4 weeks. Because a lot of people want to play that, you got to wait this long, and you know they might give you a kiss on the cheek or you know just some craziness, and
Yeah,
you're like,
right.
huh? Just madness, especially if you know the energy is there, you're feeling it, because you
I
can't
know
lie
all
about
these
that.
stipulations and all these rules.
But I would tell them do the 4 week thing. So I say the first week you hold hands, you hug, you this and that. You know, if you want to give a kiss on the cheek, you peck, okay? And you getting to know each other. You should do more talking. Those 200 questions we only full of talked about.
That's
You
it.
got to do it. You got to do it, and make it a game instead of saying, "Man, I gotta ask her these 200 questions." Okay, then I gotta listen to her
Yeah.
200 questions. It's like, just make it a game. Just relax with it. Okay. The second week, you can get into and you make a pact.
Mhm.
So you and I meet, and you say, "Look, I really like you. I want to know if you would be willing to do this with me." And I say, "What?" And you say, "Well, I want to do this thing. I want to stage it a little bit. I mean, you can be flexible, but I'm just gonna stage it. So I'm just gonna let you know we're not jumping into the bed right away. We're not gonna be having sex. I'm feeling you, and the energy is good, and so we're gonna work with the energy in a different way."
Mhm.
So what it's more about is showing the compassion. So basically, the first week was light touching, this and that, and went into more touching, and in the third week you got into the necking, the kissing, what they used to call necking,
Right.
because Tommy Sotomayor did a video about, do black people just don't show any intimacy anymore? Do they not have any intimacy? And I thought that was pretty interesting because we've been saying this for a long time.
Sure.
Uh, but I believe that is a part of our makeup, not meaning black people are like that. I'm saying that's a survivalist type of thing.
Mhm.
When you don't show affection, even like to your family members, and
Sure, to your children. I've seen it. I've seen it.
yeah, that's more of a defense. That's more of like you being afraid to do that because of the pain you don't want to experience when that doesn't either meet your expectations or
Goes
last.
Mhm.
All right, basically when it goes away. And that is a sad place to be, because if you're always thinking about the lack
Mhm.
or that this is going to go away, and yes, though that's prevalent in our minds in the community, because we have dealt with not having for so long.
Mhm.
We have dealt, I mean, if you're going to tell me, like I said one time, if I was a 17-year-old black man, I would be dejected
Right.
when I'm going to hear that 3 out of 4 black women are being molested in the home, raped in the home. So what woman am I going to get with that's going to be okay?
Right.
Because we don't have the services in our community.
Mhm.
We just don't. People don't want to. People don't want to talk about it. The families hide it.
Yeah.
Families hiding it.
They do. They turn a blind eye.
They don't
and
want
act
to
like
deal
it's
with
not
it.
happening.
So, as a 17-year-old, I would look and say, "Well, I don't want to deal with y'all either, because what's the chances I'm gonna get that 1 out of the 4?" And that's the one that all me, my buddies, my brother, my dad even still looking for that one.
Right.
So what's the chances I might hit it? I mean, I got better odds over here. I got better odds doing this. And that's what happens.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate. And teenagers have said these things to me. And I just say, well, you can't rule out certain things. I don't never want to tell them they're wrong for thinking that, or try to hype them up with something, because why do that? They came to that conclusion for a reason. And I feel like it's better to work with them to find out what that reason was, and then be able to maybe provide some ideas for some more positive type of alternatives than some of the other stuff they're getting into.
Right.
But as a people, we've got to come off of that. Some of the things laid out where I saw was most of the people don't even have any guilt when it comes to this kind of stuff. So if your man came to you and said, "Baby, look, we've been together these 7 years. You know, we're solid. The money is good. Taking care of things. Family's solid. Um, I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been feeling a little bit. I want to experience something different, as you said. I want to experience something different. I want to mix the energy up."
Mm-hmm.
So what are you gonna say then?
Am I answering as myself, or am I replaying the game again? Because if we're playing the game again, I'm gonna say, Negro, you must be crazy. You're not gonna experience anything but what we've been experiencing, because you're not gonna be sleeping with some other woman, making babies somewhere else, spending our money
I'm
on somebody
fixed.
else.
You know I got figs.
And
Come
I
on.
don't want to hear none of that.
Wow. Wow.
Now, if you're asking me what I'm gonna say, all right, let's find somebody. Let's work it out.
Key point. Let's talk about that. I love you said that.
I love
You
more.
said, let's find somebody.
Yeah,
In the book,
we could work on it together.
Dr. Hawk talked about when your partner, see, the reason the willingness is the big problem is because there's nothing you can do about somebody's willingness. There is no, you can pray, you can meditate, but that's a co-creative type of process. Meaning, if they're not putting the energy in it as well,
Right.
it is not going to be what you want. So, the willingness is always the big key. But the ability, sometimes, now I said most people
Right.
are going to get with somebody who they feel or they perceive is able. Sometimes that's not the case. So, if you come to me and say, look, I've been meaning to have this conversation with you. You know my past, and I've experienced a few things, and I just really would feel comfortable doing X, Y, and Z. Now we're talking about sexual stuff, but just as in the research, and Esther Perel talked about it, that is really not the first thing on the list people are looking for when they want something different or they want to expand or be open or be outside the relationship or have an affair. That's not what they're looking for. That the sex is really not the first thing on the list. Because, no, go ahead.
And it's not always looking for it because it's lacking something at home. At home could be wonderful, at home could be bliss, at home could be great. That does not mean that your partner, male or female, does not want to experience something different. Whether that's every once in a while, whether that's on a consistent basis, whether that is open it up to a living arrangement that's shared. It doesn't take away from the present relationship.
Well, it doesn't take anything from the present relationship. I mean, there has to be something.
It adds to the relationship. It doesn't take anything away. You're adding a new person, another energy. It brings more to it. It doesn't stop him or her from loving you or wanting to be with you or wanting to have sex with you or wanting to take care of you.
But there's many people who will say that's what they experience.
Well, a majority of them will say that that's what they experience because they go into it, even if they agree and say, okay, I'm gonna think to themselves, I'm gonna do this for him because if I don't, he's gonna leave me. It's already done. It's a done deal. As soon as you sit down and think that to yourself and bring that into it, you're gonna go into it all wrong. If you can't do it because you want to do it genuinely for the man or for the woman, then don't do
What
it.
woman really wants to share their man? I mean, Sister Ali talked about
You're
having a
sharing him
non-possessive
anyway.
loving. Well, that's true.
So what's the point? It's not like, okay, if we openly talk about it, that makes it what? Real? It is real. It's real. It's realer than you know. Just because you're not talking about it doesn't mean it's not happening.
Oh, it's happening. The biggest thing is happening is, okay, you have the babies all over the place that are being had, and either nobody claiming them or can't tell because so and so's married, or you know what, in not having relationships with the children. I mean, that's criminal.
Mhm.
That is criminal. It should be like eradicated out of our community. Period. There are no illegitimate children, and a lot of the men don't already have more than one child by a different woman. What sense does it make for one woman to sit there and pretend like those other children and those other women don't exist? I think as women, you do each other a disservice. You do each other a disservice. Those are your babies and your children, your community. No matter when you was with him or you're not together anymore, okay, fine. But he needs to have that relationship, and you should have a relationship with any woman that's in his life. And people can't do that. And that is puzzling, because that is just sheer madness to me. Like, what business do you have not fostering a good relationship with anybody that potentially is going to have some influence in your child's life?
That's true.
That is madness. Just think about that. That is madness. But that's one of the biggest arguments out there, is the ex-girlfriend or his baby mamas, or she got two baby daddies and they belong to this group and I don't like them. Just madness.
Well, that's why my suggestion of let's find someone makes more sense, because then you can weed out some of that, because you're doing it together. You're not letting him go choose someone with his Mars version of things, with the big booty and the big boobs, and well, she was talking a good game, so I thought she'd be a good mix. Because
Well,
when you bring the Venus into it and you're choosing together, the Venus is going to find someone and vibrate somebody for the relationship that fits in on many levels, not just a physical level, not just somebody who's talking a good game. This is somebody who's going to play the game long term.
okay, so
So you need
I-
both energies.
I did not speak on the fact that I started to and I messed up. When it was talking about, does your partner know, are they able and are they willing?
Mm-hmm.
When the ability falls short, now you can say to your partner, you're not able to give me what I want, so I'm going to go get it here. And you just crushed somebody that should have been dear and near to your heart, should have been in your corner and everything else. Now they hate and despise you for making them feel not only inadequate, but lost. You just ruined whatever images they built up. And yeah, people have to do their own work and blah, blah, blah. But the reality is, when you're communicating with a partner, you have to take those things into account. It's not so much not saying what you want to say, but there's a way to say what you want to say without it having to be detrimental.
Right.
It just is.
Mm-hmm.
When a person isn't able, and sometimes you do have to give a little ultimatum type of statement saying, look, I've been asking you about this. It's something that I want. You said, okay, we could talk about it, let you think about it. You've had time to think about it. We agreed on a deadline. That's passed. We've set another deadline. You can keep thinking about it, and you're not able. So either you help me
Right.
find what I'm looking for, or you be okay with it, or we split.
That's it.
And that's a hard discussion.
But
But
not
it's
an
necessary.
It's not an unreasonable one.
It's necessary because guess what? It's going to come back around.
Of course.
I can't tell you the number of times when people say, oh, I'm going to just, I don't have to do it, I don't have to have it. If something is in you, it's in you. That's who you are.
Mhm.
When you're negating yourself, you're killing yourself. So don't ever negate yourself.
Yeah.
So that's just a very real thing.